Welcome to another episode of Reseller Evolution. I'm Scott.
I'm Carl.
How's it going, Carl?
I was wondering what you're going to do.
I don't know. I knew I was going to do something different, but we'll see what happens. How's it going, Carl?
Things are good. And you, Scott? How are you doing?
I'm doing.
I know how you're doing.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
Not bad for a Thursday, I guess.
Yeah. Good. So anything happened in the last week?
Not
or
too
do you
much.
just like sit at home, have a little snooze?
Yeah, probably sat around too much. Didn't really do too much. What about you, Carl?
It was just a normal week for me. You know, sales are slow, but like, you know what? It's funny. I had to find ways to motivate me to list. So what I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do to motivate myself to list? I'm just going to beat Scott, you, or I'm going to beat Craig and Rick from Two Dogs Digs.
So you listed one item.
So I looked at the listings, and neither of you guys are listing. So I was like, oh man, okay. So I thought, well, I'll add Adam. What is it? Shipping Vintage?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's listed so much stuff.
Bro,
I'm falling behind, even though he's just part-time. Yeah. He's done so much in this last month. He listed over like $1,500 just in one day.
Yeah, but is that what's he listing? Is it postcards or something, or
it was some books? Remember, he found some really good books, but also like some Coleman lanterns and stuff like that.
Oh,
too.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know what to. It's like, you know, I work a bit better under competition for a little bit.
Yeah,
but this is too much competition now. It's like I've fallen so far behind, even doing it quote unquote full time retired. You know, it's kind of funny.
Well, my listing will come into play next week.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will have so much to list, Carl.
I know, and repeatable stuff too. So your numbers are going to go out the roof.
So, Carl had just asked me how my week went and stuff, and it's been a pretty good. Yesterday was a great day. I'll tell you.
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah. Oh. It was a fantastic. You know, honestly, it was probably, and there's, I'm going to say it without doubt, it's by far, but it's my most valued, probably one of my best picks ever. And he just felt this is more of an eBay type stuff. He goes, Scott, go talk to her about it, see what you can do. And it was toy soldiers and figures, the lead toy soldiers by King and Country, and Britons were there. It was crazy. It was insane.
And I've actually sold that King Country Britain stuff before out of the booth, and I think I got $75 to $100 per piece. And in fact, I have a box here that's empty.
And are you talking American or U.S. or like Canadian? Canadian. Okay. So, because sometimes you talk U.S. dollars too, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, just to confuse people. Yeah.
But yeah, so he told me what was there, and he goes, it's in boxes and stuff, and he threw me a couple pictures of, you know, just kind of like a weird pile of the stuff. So I looked at King and Country. I had no knowledge of what exactly was there or anything. So I just wanted King and Country figures, and everything seemed to be between $65 up to $200 and something, $250. So I'm like, yeah, I'd be interested to see what she's got to say about it. No knowledge, no idea how much was there. Like, insane amount of stuff. It's like completely insane. Mint condition in the boxes with the styrofoam. She had gone back to the receipts. I think what really happened was the husband had put the value on a little piece of like masking tape. Super easy to pull off, like painter's tape type thing. Just comes right off. The boxes have a little waxing on it, so it just doesn't even look like it's there. But he had a number on all the boxes. $115, $69.95, or $70, or you know what I mean? Everything had a number on it. I think she just went through, added it all up. So I get there, and I'm seeing all these papers laying, and there's 18 full, huge, like big boxes, like size of like your average tote, but they're
Wow.
cardboard boxes,
Yeah.
and they're full, and like right at all 18 were full to the top, and she had ripped pieces of paper on each one, $4,700, 3,000 some odd dollars, 4,000, 3,000. Like every box, she had counted those numbers, and it was on that piece of paper on how much value was in each box. So so I just kind of turn a blind eye to it. And then she's like, well, I put the value of what's in that box, like in those boxes on that piece of paper. And I said, oh, I said, well, what are you kind of asking? And she showed me this paper where she's added it all up. And she goes, well, it comes to 44,600, like $45,000 basically. And I said, oh, I said, well, is that what you're asking for it? Like has this stuff depreciated? I'm like, now I'm going into spinning the old
Yeah.
comments, trying to think in my brain what the hell I'm going to do here, right?
This is so good because I
Yeah.
would have fallen apart at this point.
Well, I didn't want to give up on it because it
Yeah.
was so much stuff. And then she's like, she goes, oh no, it's in the boxes. And I said, have you taken them out of the boxes? She goes, yeah, he had them displayed nicely, and she had put them all back in the boxes. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I said they're open. I said, so they're not new. I said, if you go buy a brand new vehicle, as soon as you drive it out of the parking lot, it depreciates. I said, so am I looking at that kind of thing? You know what I mean? I'm spinning it, dude. I'm trying to spin it,
Right.
right? Like I gotta figure out how to come down from this number. So, and she's like, well, I just got to get it gone. She goes, she took 20% already off, and then like this is what she said. I have no clue. She took off like 20% of those prices on the boxes already. And then I'm like, okay. And then so I said, are they complete? Is there any broken? She goes, oh no, they're all nice. I took her word for it. I said the boxes look mint. I said everything looks good. I totally trust you here, but we're too far apart. Like there's
Yeah.
you know, and she goes, well, she goes, what are you thinking? And I think at that point she said, like, what if she came? Oh no, because I said, well, listen, I said if I sell this on eBay, I said they're going to take 20%, right? So
Yeah.
I'm thinking in my mind, promoted listings, the regular, whatever. These things are super easy to ship, so shipping ain't going to be an issue in my mind. So, anyways, I'm like, I said they're taking 20%. She goes, well, what about 30 grand then? And I said, yeah. I said, but that's what eBay's taking. I haven't made anything yet. And I said, this is going to take me months to deal with. Like there's 18, there's got to be 1,000 or more pieces in here, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, this is going to take me a long time to do. I said, listen, I said, we're just too far apart. It's fine. There's no problem here. And she goes, well, throw me a number. And I says, you know what? I said, my number is going to be way, way too far off. I said, I'm almost embarrassed to even say that number. I said, but I'll throw you a number out here, and you got to understand, eBay's going to take a 20%. If I put it in the booth, I'm going to be losing 20%. And because she knows I told her that I'm at Waterford Antique Market. And I'm like, and I got to value my time and everything else for this kind of stuff. I said, I'll throw you a number. I said, but this is what I would do. And I said, the most I can do is 5 grand. I
Yeah.
said, that's the most I can do.
So she's asking $45,000
Yeah,
and you're offering
5,000.
$5,000.
But she had come down to 30 at that point.
Okay,
So
so $30,000.
yeah. And I said, and I said, and she's humming and hawing. She's actually thinking about it. And I'm thinking, okay, this is good. So um I said, but there's just too much, like there's a lot of time and effort. And then I said, so what I have to do is, because these aren't new in the box now, I have to take everything out, take multiple photos of both sides, the bottom. I got to uh crop those photos, then I got to take it into eBay, and then I got to put in the title and list everything in, what it is and all this kind of stuff. And I said, it takes me a long time to go
Yeah.
through all this stuff. And I said, I said, I don't mind doing the work. That's what I do. I do the work. That's my job. But I can't not make anything to do that. I have to kind of count for my time. So so she's humming and hawing. And I said, I'll tell you what. I said, you think about it. Give me a call if you change your mind. Um, and, we can figure out. I said, if you don't feel comfortable with that, try to find another buyer, whatever you have to do, right? And she eventually said, you know what? I'll take your offer.
Oh wow. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah. She goes, I want this out of my house. And it's funny too, right? Like, because I'm thinking, okay, like this is good. And so I said, I have to run to the bank and just grab the money because I didn't bring that amount. And so I come back and we're lifting the boxes up. She goes, my sister told me to get a dumpster and throw all this stuff away. Like, and I'm thinking in my head, so I should offer $3,000.
So how did he come up with 5?
It just seemed right. It just seemed in my mind like that's the right amount. Like if she countered with 6, maybe I would have done it, but I don't know. It like if I in hindsight totally
Yeah.
would have done 6, right?
Well,
But
yeah, but that's with the knowledge of what you actually have.
but now looking through the boxes and being able to comp a couple, like there's one in there. Like it's funny. I was driving by him, one of my mentors. I'd say like he's been so good teaching me over the years antiques and stuff, and he's been doing it for a long time. He was just outside, and he lives right around the corner from the antique market. So I thought, I'm going to tell Tim what I saw, right? What happened? So went in there and like,
You know what's funny is my mentor is also named Tim.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
So he gets a phone call, like he's like, wow, this is really good. He goes, oh, you did great and everything, and so he gets a phone call. He goes, Scott, I got to take this just 1 second. So he's standing there, he's talking on the phone. I just happened to grab one, the very first one I opened and comped,
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I opened it up, and I cherry picked it because it was a little bit of a larger box, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of larger boxes. Don't get me wrong, but anyway, so I opened it up, and while he's on the phone, I comp it, and it's $500 and something
Of
for
course.
this one, And it's like it's a native uh, Indian riding a horse, but it's got like he's got the war makeup on. Like it's all about fighting like warriors and stuff, and they got cowboy. Like it's all in a box. It's like
They're beautiful. Like the ones I
oh
had
my god, there's
was
amazing.
was the British Army in Egypt on camels, and these were beautifully painted, beautifully sculpted. These are not low end
No, they're not.
smashed them out metal soldiers. These were like all custom painted, almost like
Yeah.
gold
Oh,
painted or whatever. But yeah, amazing stuff.
amazing stuff. So
So of course the
and
first thing you comp is at 500.
the first one I got is up $500. It was over five. Dude, I took a picture of it and everything. Like I'm like, I was actually going to send you a picture, and I thought, you know what, I don't want to be too much. Did I end up sending you a picture on it?
No, I was waiting for it. It never came through. I'm just kidding. I wanted to see it, but oh yeah,
Right. So he's riding a horse. He's got the rifle held over his head,
yeah.
and that's the sold price.
Wow.
$543 and change. So it was most likely a U.S. Money, but they convert it to Canadian. That's why it comes out to a 450 or 553, 543.58. So, but anyways, we comped a few more, but they're almost all of them are in the $80 to $150 range, and then they're all of a sudden you get one that's over $200. So, yeah, it was by far my most. It's going to be my most lucrative 1 day pick for sure. There's no question.
Yeah.
I mean, those books were good too, and I'm still
But
going
I would
through
say the
them.
books are a lot more work in a way, right?
The books are definitely a lot more work just because of the weight alone. But well, without question, there's no comparison. But these were quite heavy too. Like lifting those boxes up,
Yeah.
up from the basement and outside and down the stairs and into my truck 18 times was pretty good. But then she had some other stuff too, right? Like I got collector's edition of the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just I bought tons and tons of other things, but I mean that's $150 collection right there. You know what I mean? Like
These private picks, if you can set those up, you can definitely get home runs out of that.
I seem to have two or three really good private picks a year for whatever reason. They just like, man, I'll never get one like that again. And then all of a sudden, one pops up, and then another. And then by the end of the year, you got three amazing. Like,
It's because you're not scared to ask, or you're not scared. You just don't give up easily. Like, so like you're too far apart, right?
yeah,
Like, it's not the same thing, but I like the garage sales this weekend, right? I went, and someone had these brass or bronze candlesticks, right?
yeah,
And like, though I know those sell, they're a little unusual, but nothing special. So I'm thinking like $5, for the pair, and I'd be okay, and I could sell it for 10 or 15. So I ask her how much she wants. Oh, I want 30 or $35 for those. And it's just like, well, I just said, oh, we're too far apart, and I just left it as that and gave up, because it's just like, because this when you have those big value differences like that, I don't want to insult someone, say, hey, $5, and that's the most I'm going to pay. It's not even like I was going to pay like 10, because like, you know so what you're saying, like with the private picks, is like, you don't give up, you ask, hey, do you have anything else in the house, do you have anything else you want to sell? Where I'd be so nervous about something like that, right? So it's not luck, it's skill, right?
yeah. Um, she was a really just a nice lady. Like
Yeah.
she was like just her attitude was not threatening or angry or anything. Like she was just happy. Honestly, she was super happy to get the $5,000. Like
Oh yeah.
she wasn't complaining. Oh man, you stole or she didn't say anything like that. She was like, yeah, my
Yeah.
sister told me to get a dumpster and throw these out, and I said no, somebody will like them. And then like, well, yeah, I just gave you $5,000. You know what I
You
mean?
always
So,
you're always a little worried about the bounce back. That actually, a friend of mine told me a story this week about that, a bounce back,
yeah,
where he had someone selling him comics, and they weren't that good comics, right? They were like 80s, 90s, bagged and boarded comic. Or no, they weren't even bagged and boarded. They're just loose. And he had a bunch of other stuff too that he'd been buying over time. Anyways, so these 80 or 90 comics, there are 100 of them. And he said, oh, what would you have offered for these common comics? And I said, $25, 25 cents for bag and boarded comic from that era, because they have no value,
right,
right?
right,
And they take up a lot of room, and there's not a lot of demand. And he said, oh, I actually paid 50 or 60. And then the guy called me up saying, I never selling to you ever again. You ripped me off. But he hadn't ripped him off. In fact, like my friend had paid too much. But the person on the other end thought it was worth so much more, because they had looked it up like on online catalog or something like that.
yeah,
Where like, if you buy a comic for $5, it says, oh, it's worth $5, but really it's worth like 10 cents, right? Because no one actually wants that stuff. So I'm always a little scared of like I don't want reputation of ripping someone off, but at the same time, like, you weren't lying. Like, the amount of work that you had to put into that is a lot. And but it's not only just the amount of work you had to put into, it's the coming up with the capital and investing that much capital up front like you did. Not everyone can come up with like, or is willing to come up with $5,000
well,
just like
I
that,
looked at it this way. Like I had an option to pay $3,000 for a bunch of uh, garage stuff from like a service garage, but there's a lot of work there. Not only do I got to look it up, I got to clean it. I don't know what it is, and you know what I mean. There's a lot of variables there that was going to cost me a lot of time
I
and
think you did the right
uncertainty.
thing there. I think
Yeah,
walking away was the right thing.
yeah, I think so too, for sure. Like I don't regret that decision at all. But in this case, everything's clean. I don't have to clean anything. You know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't have to clean anything. It's just take the photo. It's in a box. I honestly like the foam and everything.
Yeah.
It looks brand new, dude. Every one of them I open up, the foam, everything's brand new. So I don't have to disclose any like major any issues really, other than maybe a little corner bumping on a box or something. But I mean, even they look great. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, those boxes, those Britain boxes, like look beautiful as well too. I'm like
yeah,
I'd
I think
forgotten about the ones I sold, and now
what's
I know
that?
exactly what you have.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten about the ones I sold from the same line, and they were
and
amazing. And there were just two of them.
yeah, and it's like this is this is a no brainer. I have no work other than to list it, take photos and list it. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to come up with a way to to inventory it and everything, which is no big deal. But other like there's no work into it other than your basic work. Like I don't have to clean it. I don't have to look for repairs.
Yeah.
I will give everything a glance when I'm photographing it to make sure there's no damage. But everything I looked at, it looked brand new. Like everything. It looks
Wow.
just yeah. And
The other thing is that you
there's
said
no
like
musty smell.
no.
There's nothing. It's just like
Oh man.
walked out of a store. So
And
it's just
you
gonna
were saying
be positive.
earlier that it took you like 10 or 20 minutes to negotiate this too. It wasn't like it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, it was at least 20, probably half an hour to really go through it, negotiate, from the time I walked into the door, because I count negotiating from the time you walk in the door. You're trying to feel out the situation. You're trying to befriend. Like you don't want to come off as this aggressive buyer that's trying to take advantage of them or anything. Like, you know,
I drove all the way here and I took my time to come see your stuff.
yeah, no, it's like, hey, how's it going? Everything okay? Blah blah blah. We just
you,
talk, right?
yeah, you don't
So
want to be the used car salesman person too. Like, you know,
yeah, and I don't think I am. Like I'm totally upfront. Like everything I said to you on my pitch was 100% true. And she could have said, I don't give a shit. Get out of my house. Like she could
yeah,
have said that. I was
and we're
okay, have a good day. You got
exactly.
anything else for sale? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, um,
Oh, the
but
aggressive sellers are the worst.
yeah, but I'm not like it wasn't like that. You just feel it out
Yeah.
and
And you
you
were
know,
willing to walk away too, right?
I was 100% willing to walk away. I thought I was going to have to walk away. When I saw those numbers on there, I'm like, okay, this ain't going to work out. That's my thought, but give it a try, see what happens. And she seemed friendly enough to talk to, so we can just have a chat and go from there. Like, I mean, there's other options that could have happened. We could have maybe, I mean, she might have 4 grand on a box, and like, I'm just kind of think of it now, Carl, but I probably would have thought about it then. Like, maybe I do $1,000 for one box that she's got 4 grand on. You know what I mean? And see how that does, and then get back to her. That kind of thing. Um, that could have been an option because if it's truly worth 4 grand, $1,000 isn't too bad. Like like so I called my buddy Ben and just let him know as I was going to the bank what had taken place. And I said, because you got to remember at this point, I really don't like. I didn't see the $500 item. Like I'm like, okay, hopefully they're not broken. She's telling me not. Everything looks mint. I'm not going to look through 18 boxes of 50, 60 figures per box. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of taking her word for it. Her house was immaculate, super clean. Everything that I was seeing was pristine condition. He was a collector and he loved his stuff. So that makes a big difference too. You're not going into a dungy basement that's everything's covered in dust. It's like super clean. You know what I mean? Could eat off the floors, dude. But um it's I forget where I was kind of going with this, but like to pay $1,000 for one box and to see how I do, wouldn't be out of
How
crazy.
how many boxes were there again?
18.
So $18,000 if you go on that route.
No, 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 no. Buy one box,
Yeah,
not
I
all
know, but
18.
eventually you could have gone up to 18,000.
No, I wouldn't have done that.
No.
No. I mean, who's to say if I made 10 grand, sure, I'd go back and buy another box, but that's not what I was saying.
She also
Um,
wanted rid of all of it too, right? Like she didn't want to parcel it out bit by
yeah,
bit.
we never got to that point, and like I said, I'm thinking of that as an option now, but that probably would have been something that popped in my head when I was there eventually. You know what I mean? We just didn't get to that point. Like
Yeah.
I was at the point I guess I'm pretty sure I was at the point where I was going to do 5 grand. I'll buy it all right now, and if you want time to think about it, that's fine. You know, give me a call. You know my number, right? Like it was kind of that route. So for her to come down and not counter, like she also said too that she had someone interested that had a store, but they had closed down the store, so they weren't interested anymore. I think it was probably another like an older gentleman as well. Um, and she goes, to be honest with you, you're the only one that's really stepped up, whatever that means. She goes, stepped up to want these things. So whatever that meant, I don't know, but
So like the only thing I can think of is if she said that price to someone over the phone. Oh, I want $45,000 for this stuff.
yeah,
A lot of people might not even go.
right, right. That's a possibility too. I don't know exactly at all what was going on. So,
Yeah.
but I do know that she wanted to get rid of it. She was so happy. She goes, "Oh, I'm so glad that this corner of the basement is cleared now." She does have about 10 to 15% left that is unboxed, and I said, "I'll come. We'll come back to that. Let's just deal with the 18 boxes." And when I left, I said, "If you're interested in still selling those and stuff, because she had to box them, right? Like the boxes were there, but the figures were set on a table." And I said, "You get those put in the boxes and stuff, and they're ready to go." I said, "There's no rush, but give me a call. I'd be interested in buying those as well." That's how I left it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
So.
Amazing, Scott. Congratulations. It's funny when Scott called me, whenever he calls me now, I say, am I going to be angry? Because he calls me with these amazing deals he got. And it's like, wow, it's so good. Of course, I'm really happy for Scott. Using your contacts, using your knowledge in negotiation, being upfront, being honest, right? Like, way to go.
Well,
And
yeah,
and
and
knowing your stuff, right?
I'll just quickly say there's a couple ways
Yeah,
to look at this, and there's well over 500 pieces. There's 18 full boxes, and there's probably like there's like it's just crazy. There's some in thinner packages, and the one it's a smaller box, and there was 70 of them in there, but they're smaller Civil War packages, right? And they're worth about 35 to 45 bucks a piece, and then you get some bigger ones, and then those are your regular infantry type stuff from like the 1800s, and then there'll be some native ones which skyrocket to like 80 to $100. You know what I mean? Because they're a little bit more detailed, but they're in the same
yeah.
packages. But there was 70 of those in the box, and it was one of the when I say smaller, trust me, it was not a small box because
No, the boxes are quite big. Yeah,
you
especially
got to
with the
fit
foam.
70. No,
Oh,
I
oh,
I mean
right.
the box that all these were, there was 70 of
Sorry,
them
yeah,
in there, right? So
yeah.
then I said, "What do you think?" I said, "Do you think I overpaid?" He goes, "Dude," he goes, "That's a great deal." He said, "Think about this. If there's 500, which there's more. There's no question there's more." He goes, "And you sold them for $10 a piece. You get your money back."
Yeah.
Right? And some of them are worth $500. Of course, I didn't know it at the time because I was on my way to the bank to grab the money. But um, so like I think 5 grand can sound like a lot, but on the realistic side of things, it's nothing, right? Like if there's one $500 box in each of the 18 boxes, I double my money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So there's all sorts of ways to look at it, and it's just a no brainer. And looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward to listing them and getting them all up. And I'm hoping if I hammer it out, I can do it. I can have it done by the end of October. You know what I mean? Like that'll give me a month and a half from now, starting Monday. That would be ideal. just get
Perfect
all
time
this
for
stuff up.
Q4 as well. Perfect time.
Perfect time. And I can put, like, maybe I'll just take a box of them and I'll put them in the booth too, right? I can just set them in there with a price tag. So, and people will pay. They're probably not going to buy the $500 one, but the ones for $150 or less will totally sell for that in the booth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying there's not a guy out there that wouldn't pay $500 for one, but it would sit around for a long time for that guy to come by. But yeah, anyway, there you go. That's it. Bingo, bango, done.
Yeah, just a normal week for Scott.
Just
What
a
can I
normal
say?
week. Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next week.
I'm kind of bored, you know. What can you say? It's
So, anyways, how was your week, Carl? What's going on? What's new? How is the booth, buddy?
Oh, so okay, so the traffic was down at the just in the mall or
Yeah.
whatever, not mall, flea market. It was down by half, I would say. So, it was really quiet. So my sales were down. I was down to so last week I sold 230, and this week I sold 162. So even though I had more stuff, but I'm not upset because it was logical why no one was selling a lot of stuff that day.
Okay.
It was really hot and really nice. And when you have those days at the flea market, people tend to buy from outside. But Tatiana came by and said hello with her
Oh,
mom,
nice.
so that was great. And I did sell my hippo. I had this cool turquoise hippo, and it's funny.
Oh,
You have different customers there, right, at the flea market,
yeah.
and uh, you have I'm gonna say the higher end customers, and who didn't blink
Not,
an eye at paying my full price for the hippo. So
yeah.
I think I sold it for 75 Canadian, and
Okay.
online it sells for about maybe 110. But then I don't have
Dude,
to ship it this way, right?
yeah, that's a huge sale. I would have put 45 on it. That's great.
Yeah, 75. Yeah. So I sold that. And the only funny thing is I had that another booth person buying from me, but I didn't want to sell it to them. It was a big Godzilla. I know that sells for 75 online easily, and I only put $40 on this Godzilla, and it's a big piece and it's a collectible piece. And the guy says, "Oh, I'll give you 30 for it." And I said, "No, I literally just put it up on the booth."
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, my friend, I'll call him a friend. I just known him in the last 3 weeks, but I consider him a friend. Chris from the other side has a toy store, and he had a small Godzilla.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make the joke, mine's bigger than yours, as you do. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like I didn't even have time to do the joke. Anyway, so the guy's like, "No, come on, man, give it to me for 30." And I said, "Dude, like I can easily get 75 for this online." He says, "Well, this isn't online." I said, "Yes, but I just put this up 5 minutes ago, and I know I can get my 40." I said, "I'll come down to 35." It's like, "No, man, you're not going to come down to 30." It's like, "Dude, you're reselling it." Like, I didn't say this bit, but it's like, I know this will be gone by the end of the day
Yeah.
at full price, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he says, "Oh, well, how about we flip for it, right?"
Oh my God.
So
Okay.
if we flip for it, and I win, I'll pay 30. If you win, you get 35. So in fact, he's saying we come down to $32.50, right? Because on
Holy
average,
cripes.
right? So, but the funny thing is, I'm new agey,
Yeah.
and luck runs in my family. And what I used to do with ex girlfriends is if we ever wanted to do different things, we'd always flip a coin, and I would always win that coin flip.
Oh,
I
so
know how
you're
that sounds, so I said, "Fine, we'll do that." Someone else flipped the coin. I win. I got my $35, as I knew I would, because I always win those coin
nice.
tosses. You can't abuse that power. You just have to kind of let it happen, but
Well, he
you
brought it
cannot.
up. And second of all, what if he said, "Nah, I'm not going to pay that," and walked away?
He could have done that.
You know.
I don't know. Your reputation as another boost seller would have gone to shit.
So he
I
was
say,
another. He was another
yeah,
booth seller. Oh, okay.
yeah. He was a
Okay.
little not aggressive, just kind of
Yeah. No.
non-friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I
I.
don't even want to sell it to this guy. And like you said, I'm willing to walk away. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like this will sell. This will definitely sell. So, and I sold some DVDs. The nice thing about the DVDs is like I don't have to do anything. I just put them in a pile, and I was selling them 3 for $5, and I sold 3 packages for $15. Like to different people, not a ton of money, but the nice thing is I don't do any work. I just pile them up. So, um, and now I'm finished bringing shelving and stuff. So I'll have to figure out what I want to do. I think really what I want to do in the booth is theme up stuff and like common themes in certain areas. Like I think it was doing it wrong. Said like have one part for quote unquote women, one for men, and one for generalist in the
Yeah.
middle. So
Yep.
I'm going to actually follow that advice because that's what I kind of did this time.
Okay.
I the hippo, which is going to a guy by the way, but a woman bought it. Uh, was in my quote
Do
unquote
they have some sort of meaning? Did you ever look into that?
the hippo.
Yeah, like remember I said like the food dogs have a meaning. The
Yeah,
elephant with the trunk up is like good
no,
luck or something.
no.
So I'm just wondering because it was it's hard for people to see, but it was kind of almost had like a little Asian influence, but it was very funky looking and big, and it was a really cool color, like turquoise is great
It was
color.
a beautiful color, and it went to a collector.
Oh,
So the person who bought it sent a picture to them,
oh, okay,
and then they said, "Yep, go ahead and buy
yeah,
it." So
nice.
yeah, no, it was good. But like I said, the traffic was down a lot. Like between 2 and 4, there was hardly anyone through. But it was okay. I just talked to the other. I've gotten to know the other people pretty well now, and uh,
Well,
it's been fun.
I would say our store is overall the traffic's down too for sure because I talked to Steph, so I can't say how my experience is what other vendors are experiencing, but I find this to be the slowest month so far this year
Oh
was
wow,
right
okay,
now. Not saying that is bad. It's
right.
just when you compare it to such a good run, it's like, wow, this is like a really slow month. But in all honesty, it could be one of my better Septembers, but September always seems slower to me. But October's always it's followed right into October, which has always been my best month, right? So
It's
you
like
might just be
comparing.
experience that little bit of law that's normal, Carl, for
Yeah,
this month.
I'm not upset. It was fine.
Yeah,
My big thing is getting bored, right? And I wasn't bored. I had people to talk to, and I really like having that chair where you said at the front there,
yeah,
because like I get up and down all the time out of that chair. As I get bored sitting, I can stand up and I can wander around. And
yep.
um, also, I was calculating my square foot profit. So out of my, I don't count the first week because that one doesn't. It was there was hardly anything in the booth. But right now I'm netting about $1 a square foot.
Oh, I see.
So
I
100
don't go
square
that.
feet.
Yeah,
So I'm netting $1. You know
yeah,
why I was thinking that with this? So like if I expanded, right,
yeah.
how much would I need to net to make it worth it to expand to another one? I'm not going to expand, but let me put it this way: one of the booth owners next to us, for some reason, hasn't been there for over 6 weeks. So I'm not sure what's up with that. So I have a feeling that booth might shut down. Um,
I always found just expanding to more square footage that you can handle will always result in better sales. It might not necessarily equal or whatever, but sometimes one like my booths are separate, right? So it's not even though the one is beside, there's still a wall there. I still kind of consider them two different booths, and the other one is downstairs. But um, they just kind of help each other. So if one booth is maybe having a lower sales month because it's got different types of stuff in it, the other one can do better. Like so, I just kind of look at it as all one thing. But what I really kind of and I've talked to this with you before, Carl. What I kind of really go for is how much like how big does it get to the point where it doesn't make sense because you're putting too much time and effort and you really could have been putting that time and effort into eBay. You know what I mean?
exactly. That you just reminded me. The other thing I wanted to mention too is like bottom line is eBay makes me so much more money. Like if I put that 10 hours, because it's 8 hours there, an hour back, and then plus time to actually price stuff here. If I put that straight into eBay, I make so much more money. Like it's not even a question. But this fills a niche of like I've said before, I wouldn't buy too much. Okay, with an asterisk, I wouldn't buy too much directly for the booth unless it's big stuff I don't want to ship,
Right.
like that hippo.
Right.
That hippo, I would have shipped it online, but it would have been a pain. It might have broke. I might have put it in my death pile for a long time because I didn't want to worry about it, right? And in this case, I go, oh, slap a sticker on it and put it in the booth, right? The other thing too is with if I happen to expand my booth at the market, it doesn't cost me anything except for the extra fee of $34 because I mean we're already physically there for one. Being physically there for two doesn't make a difference. There's no extra cost there, if you know
Right.
what I mean.
Yep.
So if you're gonna stand for one, if you're gonna hang out for one 10 by 10, well, you might as well hang out for a 20 by 10. It's the same effort. You know what I mean? The key is, do you have stuff to go in there and the right stuff to go in there?
Yeah, and I'm constantly monitoring it too. Like I did a big purge of because like I pick differently than probably most people. Like I think people on eBay for the most part are like one-off items. Unless you do a storage
Yes.
unit or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I will buy large amounts of stuff because I have the booth too, including tray lots and stuff like that at auctions. That doesn't mean everything garbage gets into my booth, but what it does mean is sometimes my booth can get to be a lot of garbage. So if I'm trying to
Yes.
get a couple of bucks for, little figurines that people do come by and pick and they like it and it brings people to the booth, sometimes I got to make sure that there's like 5% of my booths represent that because any more than that is a waste, right? But
Yes.
over time, if I don't know, 20-30% of those things, maybe even 50% of those things sell and I have nothing into them, so it's free money and I hate to not do it, the 50% that doesn't sell can overwhelm a booth and take it over. So
And
I
that's
have
true.
to purge it,
Yeah.
right?
That's true with your
So
online store too. That's what I did. Is
yeah, but
my
you're
online
on
store
you're
also got filled up with crap. And so I
yeah, but your
purged all that
online
crap.
store, you're not paying rent. You're not paying for that space where something good could go there. So
True.
when I'm paying rent,
Yeah.
I'm paying before the buy, so all that space could have good stuff on it. So it makes you think, okay, do I really need to be paying for 3 booths, or I just need to purge and watch what I put in there a little harder and get it down to 2 big booths? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Paying less, and so I'm doing less work. I'm paying less money because I'm not paying rent for the one booth, but you know what I mean? So this is where I need to kind of watch myself. And I don't know, like the store does very well. Don't get me wrong. So 3 booths is at my limit of managing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can comfortably go there once or twice a week, and I love going there. So I'm going there anyway. So it doesn't, and it's only a couple hours. And then I'll have one vendor day a month where I really go in there and do a lot of work in there, right? So, and when I go in there a couple of days a week, like it's only for a few hours and it's 10-15 minutes away. You know what I mean? It's 15 minutes exactly if I stop for a coffee, put it that way. So, so it's not taking up the same amount of time to get there and stuff as you, and neither do I have to stay there. I just, tag it, put it on a shelf and walk away. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I'm always looking out for that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you can manage that floor space of 2 booths and you can have stuff that goes in there and is sellable, and anything that, you know 6 months is not crazy to wait for stuff to sell. And if it's really good and you just want a certain price for it, even a year, sometimes things can sit there for a little bit as long as they don't take up a lot of space. But when it gets to a point where things, you either have to start dropping prices on some of the bigger things that are still good, or get the shit out of there that you just don't have any interest in. It was in one of those tray lots or something like, but watch how much space you can manage and still continue your eBay. I think I rambled on about that, but I wanted to make
No,
sure that
yeah, I understand what you're
that makes
saying.
sense.
I agree with all that. Like there, and you don't want, like, there's not, you're restricted either by the amount of good stuff you have, or you're restricted by the amount of physical space there is, or you could be restricted by capital, like you need the money back out to buy more stuff, right? I don't think like I haven't hit that in my little booth yet. I could probably fit. I know I could fit more stuff in there. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's kind of taking a rest. Like I'll bring in a bunch more stuff for Sunday, but I'm not going to bring in nearly as much stuff. I'm not going to fill the car. Like every 3 weeks now, I fill the car with stuff. This time, I'm only going to probably bring 2 or 3 bins of new stuff because it's like, okay, things are starting to pile up. I could use, more shelving units, but I don't want just any shelving units. I want nice stuff, nice shelving units, right? Not just like these black plastic ones I have behind me.
Yeah, and if you go on Facebook Marketplace, you'll find them, and you don't need to find them all in one night. Like you can find them over time too, right? So,
Yeah, and
um,
who knows? People move out of the market. Maybe I can pick something up at that point, and then I don't have to worry about
sure,
moving it
yeah, that's
because
true.
that's a big deal for me. I don't have a truck, right? So,
And sometimes you can find, especially on Facebook Marketplace, because if you see them at the market, you probably they've already done this. But
yeah,
sometimes I'll find like cabinets where the top three, like say they're 6 foot cabinets, so the top 4 feet are open free shelving, and then the bottom 2 feet have cabinet doors on them. I just take the cabinet doors off, and then it gives you those
right.
lower shelves too. So if you see something with doors on it, just always remember you can take those doors off,
Yeah, but
and use the shelving.
exactly. So I'll eventually get there. I'm not like, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to expand to do booths anytime soon. I'm not going to like fill up full of cabinets in my thing now. It's like it's only been 3 weeks. I'm happy with how it's going.
Well, I would
Learning
I'm
to
going to throw this out, Carl. If that other booth or another booth comes open, and you can do it, now's the best time to do it because we're going into Christmas. We're going into fourth
yeah,
quarter,
yeah.
right? So if it does come up, that's what I'm just saying. Keep that in mind because you're there anyway, so you can just keep stocking shelves, right? Do they ever have a time where you can come like maybe during the week with another carload and just throw boxes into it under the table or
He's talked about that. I think it was an exception though, because a whole bunch of people were all moving in at the same time.
yeah.
I think generally no, they really
Okay.
prefer because I notice everyone else just brings things in on Sunday. Well, obviously I'm not there for the rest of the week, so I don't see. But generally, the way it works is everyone in the morning spends the first half an hour bringing in new stuff. I
Yeah.
noticed. Uh, it's possible, but I haven't bothered to ask because it.
Well, I would ask, just say, listen, is there a day of the week where some people are like, you're here? Like, because you could fill up your car and you're just dropping them off. You don't have to set it up because you'll set it up when you're there, like on a
True,
Sunday.
true.
So
I'm
just
full now,
say,
though. I'm full
what's that?
now. I'm full now.
Oh,
Like the booth.
it's full now.
Well, not full, but it's now
You're
I'm at the point where like now the issue isn't moving the stuff. Now the issue is me pricing the stuff before I take it to the booth
okay.
because I want it priced before it gets there, which means time here to do that, right?
Okay.
Which is fine. Like but it still has to be done. It doesn't magically happen, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Also, I really like to bring at least one interesting thing in a week. Like this one, like I was showing you before, I think this Howitzer shell wine rack is pretty funny. I'll bring that in, and it'll
Yeah.
grab attention. And I bought a big Winnie the Pooh telephone
Oh,
on the
okay.
weekend, which is pretty funny. So I'll bring
Yeah.
that in, and it'll grab it. Just because I really found that was true. You want something that makes people turn to look at your booth
Yeah.
because you don't have that, they don't stop.
And put an empty bottle of wine with Frisky Beaver in that shelf.
Damn you, Adam. So, anyways,
But
yeah,
no, I would put an empty wine bottle in there just so people know, like they can
it's for.
visualize what's
I
going
guess
on,
so. Yeah, that's a good idea.
right? Um, like sometimes I'll get those. They're like plastic, but it'll be like a fish, and the fins are, and it's really a beer bottle or a bottle holder, or wine. I guess probably for wine. But I mean, out here in the Hicks, we got like you'll have like a moose laying on its back with its feet up and stuff, and it'll hold the bottle. I've seen like bass, like fish, that kind of thing. So I always put a bottle in there just to kind of show what it is, right? So
Smart. Yep.
yeah. So um yeah. So There you go. Perfect. Okay. Anything else, Carl? Like
That was like the only thing
eBay's
I was
going
going.
well.
Sorry,
eBay, how's eBay doing?
it's a little quieter, but I'm listing, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Uh, until I get destroyed, it sounds like in October by you listing a ton of stuff. But
I my goal is to, yeah.
so we'll see how it goes. But no one sees. I like competitions where other people don't even know they're in a competition.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Oh,
It's
you win
like,
every time.
yeah, exactly. So I guess the only other thing is I went to garage sales this weekend. There were actually quite a few this last Saturday,
Oh yeah, garage sales. Yeah. Okay.
and
I've heard
I
about
did
it.
pick up some stuff. I picked up a really cool CD tower, and I talked to the guy for a while. He was really nice. It looks like a telephone booth, like a red telephone booth from Britain. But it's a
Okay.
CD tower, so it's kind of cool. I'll bring that in eventually too.
Well, isn't the blue one like a that's a police booth, I guess. That's
This is just a regular red one for
yeah, Doctor Who.
yeah. The blue one's Doctor Who. Yeah, it's not Doctor Who. Uh, I'm scared of saying Doctor Who because Facebook is like flooding my Facebook with Doctor Who stuff for some reason. I can't get rid of it.
Maybe there's a movie coming out. I don't know.
Maybe.
Not
Um.
that I heard of it.
So I did a boo boo this weekend.
Oh.
I I grossly overpaid for something.
Oh man.
Yeah,
We
I
all
know.
do, Carl. We all
I
do.
know. But I knew better. That's the thing. It was the first one, and there's a rule of three for the flea market, right?
Yeah.
So you should be able to sell it for three times what you paid. And I've been really trying to stick to that because it is sometimes tempting to go like, I can get, I'll buy it for 5, I can sell it for 10, but really, you should be going for 3. I've seen that advice anyways from numerous places. So this clock, okay, beautiful condition, but it's modern. It has like
Yeah.
the little batteries in the back, and they
Right.
wanted $50 for it.
Oh, okay.
I paid 45. I'll be lucky to get 20 for it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what I was thinking. It's like I was like, oh, this is a nice house. It's nearby, right? They take care of everything. It must be high quality stuff. I didn't comp it. And then I get home, it's like people are desperate to get rid of these things for $20.
Oh
And
gosh.
it's like, I know what happened though. It's just like, oh, I want to make a deal. I didn't think
Yeah.
there'd be like tons of garage sales. It's in great condition, but I was just like, I should use the rule of 3. Am I going to get $150 for this? Hell no. Like even there's no way I would get $150 for this modern. Like it's not even that good. It's just I tricked myself. So I'm still learning that lesson. Um, but I walked away from the other thing, the candlesticks. So that was good. And then I had a big negotiation with this one guy. It was kind of cool. So I found like that great garage sale where like people have reasonable prices and they have cool stuff, right? And I bought a whole bunch off of there. And I negotiated for a long time with this kid. He had a whole bunch of manga,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and he wanted, I think it was something like 18 books or something like that. He wanted $5 a book, and it was way too much. So he said, "Well, how about 120 or something like that?" And I said, "Well, how about 100 or something?" And he was just like, "No, no, I can't sell these for 100. It would have been like $2 or 250 each." And then I thought, oh, I'm going to pull Scott. It's like, well, how about I throw in this? So I threw in a remote control for airplanes.
Okay.
And then we ummed it on. I think he was at 135 he wanted, and it's like 110. I said, dude, we're so close. And then eventually he just said, okay, fine, 110. But I stood there. I stood there for like 10 minutes. I
Good.
was
Good.
actually I was having a great conversation with like another guy there, really a kid, like,
Yeah.
17, 18. And he buys at the he sells a bit on Facebook Marketplace, but he also like picks things from like those pick and picks or whatever,
Yeah.
where they have the so anyways, I talked to that guy. It was a good conversation. It was an honest conversation, and we were just having a good time talking about reselling. And then eventually the guy came down. So it was like, okay, that was a long time negotiation. It wasn't like the 20 or 30 minutes for like thousands of dollars like you had, but I was pretty happy with that.
No, but that's good because you're not comfortable. I mean, those are your words with the negotiation. So for you
Yeah,
to, do it like that way, like
practice.
that's, dude, you're going to be like Carl the lazy negotiator. So I don't know.
We had to work on that one, I think.
I had to work. I just popped in my head. I'll have to figure it out. But
But the flea market is definitely giving
the
me
negotiating reseller. There you go.
the negotiating reseller. Yeah, but the flea market is definitely giving me experience whether I want it or not.
Dude, yeah, 100%. Sometimes you don't realize where your experience come from, but that's probably given me a lot of experience is just talking to people, even at the market and stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
so that's interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, that's about it. I think
I don't know why like you're a people person. Your knowledge is there on what you want and and what sells and stuff like that. I mean, to overpay on a clock, like we all do that. Like those things are going to happen. But other than that, like you pick up stuff that I have no knowledge on at all, and the camera stuff is like huge knowledge base for you.
I love
Like,
cameras. Yeah.
yeah. So like when I'm like I don't know this negotiation thing, like why it becomes tough for you or like at
I can
times.
tell you why. I'm
Why?
scared of insulting someone or
Yeah,
upsetting
but
someone.
okay. But I don't think you're insulting. Like if they become insulted, you just quickly have to explain to them what's going on in your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
you're not.
don't be afraid to apologize. Not that I can ever recall where I need to apologize. Um, I might apologize before I insult them, but like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm about to insult you. But I apologize ahead of time, but I'm going to insult you here. But like I don't
I
recall.
think you have a thicker skin than I have. I'm a sensitive boy. So, but I can thicken up that skin. I think it's just going to take practice,
I
right?
just don't think I've ever run into an issue. Like I've never been chased down the driveway like you have. I think that's traumatizing, right?
Uh, yeah, and I didn't
Like
even really negotiate with that one.
no, they just
Or I just remember the other one where I talked about before. It was like a bunch of CB equipment, and I offered them 20, and they had wanted like, no, we want 200. How can you say? And she got really upset. And it's like the stuff was worth like 10.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But hey, uh, I remember those incidents. But hey,
They
all
know
good.
they never leave you. It's like
They never leave me. It's like they get piled up with all the other crap that's happened in the past. It's funny.
but you're overcoming that, Carl, and that was a great negotiation. And you got what you wanted. And you threw something in too.
And that thing is worth like 50 or $60. So
Yeah. So really, you paid $60 for like if you sell that for 50, 60, you basically paid 60 for what you wanted.
yeah, half of it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right? That's how you look at it. Very
So
good. Very good.
so should we get into the comments?
Okay, yes. Let's get into the comments.
So should we start with Spotify?
Um, sure. Uh,
Because I can't see them.
yeah, so we have two Spotify comments here. I'm just gonna get to them. So we'll start with Tina Mack based on our last show, and she came by and saw you last week, right?
That's
Not
right.
not
Yeah.
the week I just passed, but like a week and a half
Yeah.
ago type thing.
Yeah.
So she's here. I love these long episodes. I list while I listen. And you know what? I do that too. Like, I mean, I go in spurts. A lot of times it's horror movies and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
I'll listen to a lot of resellers on YouTube. The booth was great, Carl.
Oh,
And it
thanks.
was great meeting you. Glad things went better last week.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, no, it's great meeting Tina as well.
Well, thanks for the comment, Tina. And always look forward to hearing your comments or reading your comments. But we have another person too who 17 hours ago listened to episode number 5 on thrifting. So it's nice to see that our older episodes are still getting airtime on Spotify.
Yep.
And this is Jody. I can't stand Value Village. Every store I've been to are overpriced and so dirty. She must be near here, like Brantford or something, because or are they like that in Ottawa?
It depends on the store, actually.
Yeah, I love thrifting in small town thrift stores, fair prices and better stuff. And I agree 100%. If you can find a nice little honey hole like a mom and pop shop that's outside of those big bulk chains like Goodwill and stuff like that, you can find some really good stuff in there, and they don't care about prices. They get this stuff and they want it gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like there's been some hilarious things with Valley Village of them like reselling Dollarama store stuff for more than the stuff sells in Dollarama, and it's like, yeah, thrift stores can be really frustrating, but at the same time, they can be. I still find stuff. I find there's a little less competition there. I don't know if that's true or not. The most annoying thing with me for Valley Village right now is they changed their hours to 9 a.m. from 10. And the problem with that
Oh,
is now I have to commute with all the other working plebs trying to get to the store. So actually, I prefer the 10, even though you had an earlier start. But that first world problem, what can I say? But thank you so much for the comment. Actually, I just remember something Tina was saying, that she likes to buy things cheap and she likes to dig, right?
that's what I like doing.
And that's
Yeah.
what you like.
Yep.
And I kind of realized the get things cheap thing this weekend as well, because I overpaid for not over yeah I overpaid for some drinking glasses and like Coca-Cola ones. I got some World War WWF glasses, which I paid fine, but I should have
Okay.
left the other ones behind, and I overpaid. So
Well, I
it's like,
think. Go
if
ahead. Sorry, Carl.
and the reason I overpaid is like, okay, these are I know the Coca-Cola, they made a lot of these things. I'm not naive, but it's like I should have went, instead of overpaying for these glasses, I should have said, I'll take the good ones, which is the wrestling ones, and take the chance on that. And the other ones I should have said, well, I'm not interested unless it's really cheap, and not even worry about missing out on some potential profit there, because the chance of that was so low that I now kind of understand the buy everything cheap so you don't have to research it and you hope for the best. And if it doesn't work out, well, you got it cheap, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
And I think how much inventory you have standing in your house can make a big difference on how much you feel pressure to buy stuff too, right?
Yes.
Like I don't know your situation now that you got the booth. Has a lot of stuff cleared out and your house is empty? Do you feel pressure to buy stuff?
I feel pressure to buy interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I have
So
it
those
actually has
glasses.
cleared out a lot of room. Like, it's
Okay.
amazing how much room is cleared out. Not as much as my wife would like. There may or may not be a huge telescope in the garage that is really bugging Amy. I promise to sell in the booth at some point, but overall, it has cleared up some space. But for me, the pressure is more like finding stuff that's actually going to sell uh,
Yeah.
in the booth, and it's important.
Dude, I honestly, like, I know people say this and stuff, but honestly, I have no problem finding stuff for whatever reason. It just seems to pop up. Like it
It's your
just
magic power.
no, I think it's the magic of the area,
Yeah,
right? Like I think I'm just in one of those honey hole of an area that just like there's just stuff for whatever reason. You know what I mean? It just
yeah,
like there's no denying it. You know what I like. It's insane, but it just like from those VHS tapes. That's where I grew up in that town. I went to high school in that town. It's 10 minutes from where I live now. You
yeah.
know, I'm going back there Saturday because I got probably 30 things in an auction last night. So like it's just insane. Like there's so much stuff here and I don't need it because I got 18 boxes of little toy soldiers that I got to deal with. But I do go through lots of inventory out of my booths, and hopefully, once I get a chance to things settle down a little bit, I'll go through a lot more inventory through eBay. Although eBay, like I sold two books, one for 150, one for 100. I sold another one of those insoles. Like things are selling on eBay for sure. Uh, Another piece for the Heathkit robot. Um, so like things are selling. It's just I wished I had about 2 to 3,000 listings on eBay, and I'm sitting
Wow,
just
yeah,
over 600. I
that's a
keep
lot of work. That's an insane amount of work.
Well,
It's
it's
not only getting those amount up, it's maintaining that number as things sell. So it's like that treadmill starts going like gets a higher and higher slope the more stuff you have on there.
well, in I'd like to kind of maintain that level of inventory. I'm just seeing. I know Craigslist Hunter hire somebody. Lonnie and Candace. It's a him and his wife dual like team. But I just think I'm here. This is my full time job, and I should be able to get. I should be able to get there. You know what I mean? And every time I'm starting to move and I'll get to like 685 or something like that, and all of a sudden, okay, then we go on vacation to Sault Ste. Marie, and then I get a big pick, and then I'm organizing a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Oh
anyway,
no. Oh
it,
no, you bought all that amazing stuff. Oh, I feel so sorry for you, Scott.
but it takes time, dude. I was gone all
life,
day yesterday, and I
life
didn't
gets
lift
in the
anything.
way. Life
Huh?
gets in the way, right?
Well,
It's
but it's work. It's a
yeah.
job, but no. But I'm just thinking. I think I can get there. I think I can get to at least 2,000 and maintain that, right? And I think that would be a really nice income in include, and then on top of that have the booth still. I think the booth is vital. It's important because a lot of stuff that I might get that it just when I get home it's just not what I was thinking or whatever reason, there's still my booth to set it in there because
Oh yeah.
shipping's different in Canada. So I can't ship out those $6 to $8 to $10 items. I just put them in the booth. They're still desirable. There's no sense throwing them away. You know what I mean? And
No,
people pick
like
that. And
yeah.
then you get those big things that are tough to ship, like you got. Why
Yeah, like
not buy it for $10 when you know you're going to get $70?
this artillery shell.
Yeah.
There's no way I'd ship it just for the weight.
Not only that, I tried selling artillery shells on eBay and they took them down.
Oh, they don't like that?
They don't like it. And it's
Yeah.
empty. It was an empty shell. I might even have put trench art on it. They might have had some sort of funky design on the side and they took it down.
Hmm.
Right.
I'm not
So,
that surprised. They
yeah.
don't it's just AI doing that or they have rule sets, but yeah, no.
So, anyway, yeah.
Okay. So should we go on to the next comment
Go
from
ahead, buddy.
online?
Yep.
Doing it wrong. Carl, for you. Sorry. Let me start. Carl, for your wall art, look for small mushrooms, owls, and other cottage core stuff. The hand knitted stuff is the best. Okay, so yeah, I those are great suggestions. Owls, mushrooms, I do look up for. I
Beavers.
look up
Beavers.
beavers, yeah. Cottage core, I'm gonna have to look into a bit more.
I can't believe Doing It Wrong didn't put in beaver. I'm so upset about
I
that.
know, right?
He watches the Sunday show. He knows beavers are better than mushrooms.
I did sell some mushrooms actually last week out of the booth. But anyways, there's definitely a group of people that look specifically for that kind of thing and doesn't take much space. The flip through box for art that Scott mentioned is good once you have a bunch.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of art, but yeah, no, that's it's good idea. Like especially if I'm running out of room, I have all those kind of I have these beer signs up. I could just put one or two and then have a bunch more in the box, like you said, just to show what there is. That's a good idea.
The reason I said that is only because you got them hanging up, taking like very good sellable space, and you're saying that they're low cost items. So I'm just thinking you could use that space for more valuable stuff, Carl. That's kind of where I was going with that too.
Yeah,
And to flip them, it's not taking up any space, and anybody looking for some sort of wall decor will flip through there, right? So like a piece of art. So anyway, it's just the quality of sellable space that they were taking out. That's all.
yeah. Probably after this weekend, I'm gonna solicit up for advice on how to reset up my booth again, uh, just to get some ideas. But it was nice just to relax now for a weekend of not having to pack the car to the Guilders. So, do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, it's addressed to me, and it's from Doing It Wrong. Scott, that old guy with the weird disease, bring out a Geiger counter, lead test, and arsenic test if you go out to his place to pick. if he's dying from something off the wall, there's a chance it's something he's collected. Uh that's an interesting point. So I don't read these comments ahead of time. I used to, but I haven't for months now. So this is the first time I'm reading this, and that's interesting. I'm gonna have to think about that one as far as like I don't think I'm gonna take out those testers. I'm probably not gonna go back to his place, but it's interesting to know what we're bringing into our own homes.
Yeah, I worry about that a bit.
Well, I'm not talking about poltergeist, Carl. I'm talking about
I'm talking about mold.
well, mold for sure,
Some
but
weird bugs around here too. I swear I brought in.
so I'm gonna read his next one because it also
Yep.
addressed with my name on it, and then you.
Yep.
Is that fair? Scott, I have he's got the JFJ Easy Pro that I don't use very often. When your buffing compound runs out, switch to I'm gonna butcher this name, but it's Migier's
Sure.
Ultimate Compound. It's a car buffing compound that will buff just as good as the JFJ stuff, but will also fill the deeper scratches with wax. Huh. Okay. Sometimes this will improve discs just that much better. Do not run a disc for too long. Anything like over 45 seconds or whatever runs the risk of overheating and warping the disc. And I agree with that. And I've experienced a hot disc. Nothing's warped so far
Yeah.
because I have stopped that. Like I said, I think I've said that too. I'd rather run it for 2 30-second runs, like run it for 30 seconds, clean it, look at it, and then put it back in for 30 seconds than to do a minute, especially if you've done a couple of long runs already, because it's amazing how much that gets hot, right? So I totally agree for sure. I haven't been able to find a cheaper solution for the buffing pads than direct from JFJ. I wish I knew one. That's interesting you say that because honestly, I have not. And secondhand Maple said that as well in the Sunday show that it's expensive, and I haven't looked at the like to replace the compound or the pad. So it does a very good job, but I haven't looked into what the replacement of that kind of stuff would be. So
That's sometimes
interesting.
where they get you is the replacement stuff. I had to replace my CPAP machine strap.
Yeah.
$120 for a piece of cloth. It's like they probably cost them $5 to make this damn thing. Well, what are you gonna do? They
Well,
get you on the accessories,
you're gonna buy on eBay.
I already bought it.
Okay. So you know what? Those are great comments that are thinking out of the box. Like, I kind of take it one step further. Okay, he's may have done that to himself, but could we be doing that to ourselves and not knowing it as well, just by bringing it into our home and using different compounds that are less expensive? So I appreciate those two comments. Thanks, doing it wrong for sure.
So I'll read the next one from Randy,
Okay.
Nova Scotia Kelt 5218. Another fun show. Thank you. Don't mind the 2 hour plus podcast. I listen while packing orders and listing. Scott, I doubt you will come to a deal with the vintage auto guy. I'm a cheapskate and would only offer $1,000 because I know that you know what you're looking at, and some of the things you've described will get your money back quickly. Yeah, we were talking about that. It's probably a good thing you walked away from that one.
Yeah, and I don't regret it one bit. Like I don't think about it.
The rest will be long tail, but at least the only investment will be your time. Carl, glad you're feeling more confident about your booth. Thanks, Randy. Hey, thanks, Randy. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks for the comment, Randy. Yeah, I don't feel any regrets at all not doing that, and I think the $1,000 is probably the better price. I might have, and sometimes we can get caught up too. If someone's asking for 3,000, and normally I wouldn't pay more than 1,000, but for some reason I'm finding myself willing to go to 1,500. that doesn't make the buy any better. It just means that they started really high, and we've talked about
Right.
this before. And sometimes, and I know this, he had the number already shot out there before I even looked at the stuff, but that's why sometimes I don't mind saying the number first. A lot of people say, "Oh, never say the number first. Let them give you a number," right?
Yeah.
If I think they're presenting it like prized possession, I'm going to throw out the number and I'm going to go way low. And I don't care about insulting them. Just say, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like play, like, I don't know. This is new to me. I just find it interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I can
Yeah.
understand that price. Like, I can understand your appreciation of this type of object because I do too, but I don't know what it's worth. Just kind of downplay it. You know what I mean? They'll
Yeah.
back off a bit, but at least I got them down from that crazy number that they were about to shoot out there. So, because I think Randy's right here. He hasn't even seen it. That probably $1,000 is where you want to be on that, and I totally agree. But I might have been willing to go to 1,500, which I wouldn't have felt comfortable with, but I still would have got it just because it was cool stuff. Some of
Sometimes
it,
you just want the deal to go through. You want the stuff. You want
yeah,
to fill your truck, right? You
yeah.
want you want that dopamine from buying the stuff. It feels good, right? You want that hit. That's me and the clock. I bought that clock to get that hit, and then now I regret.
Because to invest in 1,500 to sell it for even 4,000, you're still just doubling your money with a lot of work. You know what I
And
mean?
and this
So
is not easy stuff. It needed cleaning and all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
No,
and
I
looking
you
it
did the
up,
right
and I
thing.
have to
Yeah.
pick it up, and it would be a
No, no.
couple truckloads, and so it would have been a horrible buy, and I'm so glad I didn't do it. But I
I
might
bet
have
you
been
he.
willing to go a little higher just because he
Yeah.
was asking so much to begin with. So interesting stuff, but yeah, I shouldn't be in for it at all for over $1,000. So
I bet
anyway,
you. I bet you that he's going to be sitting on that stuff for a long time.
well, with his oxygen tank,
Oof.
you know what I mean? Like he'll be sitting on it literally, like because he ain't gonna be able to move it. He ain't gonna be able to do crap. So,
Yeah.
and no one's definitely gonna buy it. So, and I don't say that in a bad way. I'm just saying it like sometimes you got to be a little bit realistic about shit too, right? So,
Yeah.
all right, buddy, are you gonna read the next one?
Sure. From Dawn.
Don's next.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Whew. Okay. Back from vacation. Amherstburg. And my
Amherstburg.
typing fingers are ready. Okay,
Nice.
great. I don't think I can handle listening to myself on a podcast. Is that weird? Don't answer that, Carl. So I'm going to answer that. Um, you know what? Like when you first go up in front of the camera, it was nerve wracking, but now I don't care because honestly, when we're talking, we're just talking to each other in a conversation. So
Yeah.
and listening back to, I'm just used to my voice now. Like at first you know, so is that how I sound? But then eventually you're just like, oh, that's how I sound. You just get used to it. I don't think anything of it, to be honest. I just get annoyed with myself when I won't let things go or or I'm not listening.
What I like about listening back to ourselves is how much we miss what the other person was really saying or just saying at all. And
Exactly.
sometimes I'm like shocked at, did I really like I didn't answer his question at all, or I didn't deal with it. Like, I know you've said that too, but I mean, like, I wasn't listening to Carl at all, or you said something really funny that I laughed at, and I'm like, I didn't even hear that when we were talking. I just kind of talked right through it, but that was actually a pretty good one or something. You know what I mean? When I'm listening to it,
Yeah.
and
The-
even when I'm editing it, it doesn't even resonate. It's more like when I'm driving down the road
yeah.
listening that when it really resonates what we're saying. So,
The big difference with a podcast versus just conversation is I try to be better at not interrupting, especially if you're telling a story. It's hard not to though when something pops in your head. And I'm hoping we're getting a little better at not talking over each other because that can be a little difficult and it can be frustrating to listen to on the other end. And I'm hoping our audio is a little better now than on some of the older episodes too. And getting the flow right is important.
yeah, and I don't think we do talk over each other that much. I mean, you don't want dead air either, right?
No.
So, usually one of us backs off when we're talking over each other. Like, you just kind of take turns on that. I mean, you talk over me a lot more than I do you, but
Right,
um,
right. Yeah, no, I no see.
all right, go ahead. Sorry,
Okay,
Carl.
okay, okay. I actually saw continuing with Dawn. I actually saw a couple of yard sales on my way home yesterday, and I was too lazy to get out of the car. Yeah, I've been like that too. That's when I go home. Also, I don't have any cash on me. Missed opportunities abound in Dawnland. You don't have cash? Didn't your parents tell you always have cash on you? Um, Re-disc cleaning. I think I'm far too lazy to even do that. Good going on the dedication, Scotty.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I would get like
Thanks,
one of,
Carl.
if I was doing a lot more video games, I could see myself getting one of those equipment. My fear is like it would just sit in the corner for a long time. Um, I think Carl's booth or anyone's really will always be a work in progress. Change is good. Yes. Like I move stuff around when I'm there just for something to do as much as anything else. Um, Laugh my ass off, Carl. I love how you got bored of yourself talking about the crack bowl. Actually, someone came and talked to me about the crack bowl on the weekend.
Oh, really?
They said, there's no way you're gonna get that. They said like no one will pay any once it's cracked it has no value at all. And they said like no one in the flea market is gonna pay more than $20 for anything. We're just having he wasn't saying this in an aggressive way. It was more we were just having a conversation what it's like selling in a flea market. I think he's wrong about the $20. I think there's a lot of people who will not pay more than $20 for anything, but I think there are those customers at the higher end that will pay
Oh,
up for
for
good
sure.
stuff. It's just
Yeah.
that don't be fooled by the people who won't pay anything and feel the need to come down. You have to kind of wait out those quality, or not quality customers, but the people who are willing to pay up. Right? They're looking for the
Yeah,
better.
so I think if you got things that are high end, so, like you said, sometimes you have to wait for that right customer to come by to pick it up. But they do tend to sit a little bit longer, so it can psychologically start you get beat up, you beat up yourself by saying, "Man,
Yeah,
why isn't anybody buying that?" It's just the nature of the beast, right? So I think what you have to do is have a variety, have a few big
yeah.
ticket items in there, and know that eventually someday somebody will come by and get them, and then your bread and butter items just go and do the thing they do.
I also think having prices helps. To be honest, like with that hippo, I had it the previous week, and the price is underneath. But this week, I put a little chalkboard up in front of it and put the price in, and I sold it right away. Now, I'm going to use that example as perfect evidence of everything,
Yeah,
sample size of one. But I think people are less reluctant than to.
dude, if that works, I'm gonna have chalkboards all over my booths,
I
man.
like
I'm
my
telling
little chalkboards; they're so cute. Okay, where was it? Okay, good point about having items to draw multiple demographics. Oh, that good point, Don. We just have to talk about that. Yes, there are different types of customers, uh, and sometimes you don't want all customers, right? You don't want the person coming and asking you, offering you $10 on $100 thing, just so you can flip it quick. Like I don't want that person.
no, no, no.
Uh,
I would never have said that. I'm just saying if you got like $5 into something, and you got $60 on it, and somebody comes and offers you 40, I'm taking the 40. You know what I mean?
I have to get used to that. I want the 60 because I've already priced it lower for the booth already. I find
Yeah.
so,
And
and
I
then
mean, it's a vendor, so definitely it's worth it because you're going to, like I said before, you're going to ask him for a deal someday down the road.
I'm gonna have to get
Um,
used to that concept. I've been kind of still glued to my little booth. I don't like going too far away in case someone wants to buy something. I have to kind of get out of my little bubble. But
and sometimes you could say like sometimes you can use percentages, switch it up. Like I don't know how good at math you are or something, but if somebody wants, if they're knocking you down 50%, just say like, listen, I can do 25% off, and then
yeah,
that, you know what I mean, and just say like that's a quarter of the price off, but it might, instead of being $50, maybe it's $25, or you know what I mean, or $30, or whatever the situation is.
yeah.
Um, just say, but I'm not coming down half, 50%. Like,
I'm gonna use like when someone else asked me to just watch their booth for a little bit, and they gave me a percentage I could take off as a rule. And it's like, okay, good. And I'll probably use a similar rule just to think of it quick. Where was it? I hate Instagram for advertising my listings. It feels so forced and fake. I know a ton of people do really well with it though. Yeah, I'm with you, Don. It does feel forced and fake, but I think we do have to get over that. It's we well, how it's perceived on the other end might be different than how we feel, if that makes
Does
sense.
Dawn
Even though
come
I
from
feel
a
the same way.
small town?
Yeah, she comes.
Because I kind of feel the same thing. Like I see some guys and they like advertise everything on their trucks or their vans and all this kind of stuff. And you see billboards and you got like
I think it
guys you went to
works.
school with that are insurance companies that their parents own and their
Yeah,
faces on there and stuff. You know,
yeah.
different like
It feels
Ford.
corny,
It feels a little corny, right?
but
But they do
I
it,
think it works. You know,
and I'm like, you know, should I put a billboard with Scott Sull stuff? And
I
you know what I mean? Like,
I hate to say it, but yes.
you know what
But
I'm saying?
I think you're doing pretty good without doing that.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to advertise both your YouTube and your eBay store and your booths at the market, and you know, just kind of bump a lot of more viewers and more sales and whatever the situation is, like,
Yes.
do you do that? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes. I
Like,
think the answer is yes.
I feel like Don does. Like, it's kind of cheesy or kind of weird, but
Some people do really good though on Instagram. Like you say that about any platform I know. But I do think the kids nowadays are really into the Instagrams, and we just for us it's like a technology too far right now. It feels very forced. Like the joke with you is getting you on Instagram forever, right? But it's something you have to be consistent with. Um, but yeah, like for the flea market, the McAfee flea market, they have a Facebook, but really they should be doing Instagram too. And I'm not going to take the lead on that, but I wouldn't mind doing a bit of that. But yeah, as for like honestly, one thing I don't have, what I really should have, is a website at least that I can say, if you want to sell something, here's my website. Because a lot of people feel comfortable with the website because it's not like they go there and they have to talk to someone. They can just see what you're about. If you give them a phone number, is I think it's hard for people to make a call and talk to someone personally. Do you know what I mean? Like for
I
you,
do. But then you got to figure out, is it worth the time that would be put into
depends how
maintaining a
much time
website?
you're putting in. And yeah, like I haven't done it. I'm just thinking advertising works, right? And finding the right someone, who was it? Someone was talking about still they advertise in the oh, I think it was like the $1 Million Peddlers. I think Mr. Magazine, he still advertised in phone books. That shocked me. It's like I haven't seen a phone book in 10, 15 years.
I don't even. I don't know. I think you better look and make sure that phone book's not.
It actually gets printed.
Yeah,
I just advertised for that. But
like
he said like there's a certain generation who still gets the phone book. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah,
So,
interesting. Yeah. So when I do my like, I just like talking about this stuff. So when I do the channel and stuff like that, it's all about just trying to discuss what's happening. You know, it's
yeah.
like this channel too. It's it's a discussion. We just like sharing our experiences and hearing other people's experiences. But maybe there's an element out there where we should be trying to sell our stuff too. I don't know. That's interesting. Interesting.
Well, yeah, I don't see ourselves selling stuff through the channel like this. I don't want to. I don't honestly have no interest in that. But
Not this channel, but I'm talking about, should there be a YouTube channel where you're trying to sell your stuff? Like, I think mine could be when I try to do, and I just, there's just not enough hours in the day, but trying to do the ones where I'm showing what I got and what I've listed. But it really kind of started trying to show, doing a different type of show, because there's other people that show what they sold, but I just want to show what I have and kind of document what I've been finding and what I'm listing.
well, that's Sunday
And then
night show, right?
what's that?
When you have that Sunday's night show,
Well, then there's Sunday show, but I'm talking about on that channel. I also put out like those little 12 to 15 minute videos, and then I follow it up with things that have sold on eBay. You know what I mean? With a little montage with some music and stuff.
right?
I enjoy doing those, but they're
Well,
just
what's
so
your
time
purpose in
consuming,
that,
and they're
though?
just like
Right?
12 minutes, but it takes like, by the time you edit and everything, it's probably 3 hours of work.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Instagram. You just take a photo, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's the thing with Instagram is like anything, you have to build up an audience, and you have to be consistent, because if they never see anything on your Instagram account, they'll stop looking. But with the, like, for example, the flea market or your antique market, if you consistently say, hey, this is all of this great stuff that's showing up this week, come take a look. At first you're gonna have such low traffic, but overall, over a long time, people might actually look at the Instagram and say, oh, look, there's a hippo. I'm gonna go down to the flea market and check out this hippo, But it's work. It's not free, and it's also one of those things that takes a long time to get traction, I would think. But
Never in my life
here we go.
have I ever said, "Hey, there's a hippo at the market. Let's go."
A turquoise hippo. I'm gonna miss that guy. I even said with this Ravi, I'm gonna miss this guy.
Hey, man, they got the ceramic hippo down at the
Shut up.
market. Let's go.
Now you're being mean. Okay, let's keep going. Account shipping is a separate expense because I purchased it separately outside of eBay. And like what Carl said, it's not a one-to-one amount. Also, shipping costs are something to enter in my taxes, etc. Yeah, I'm with you, Don, but we are in the vast minority. Everyone's like, oh, the buyer pays for the shipping. I say, okay. Do they also pay for your? Anyways, I'm not going to go into it.
Well, I'm gonna add a little something here.
Okay, here, yeah.
So these little items are only gonna that I bought, like spent the $5,000 on.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna cost me like $8 to $9 to ship to the States. Maybe, I mean, some of them will be in that expedited light category. So I'm still gonna
Yeah.
make a couple bucks on shipping. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Just rubbing into Carl a little bit there.
I know. I'm already crying on the inside.
Am I going to swear at you on this one, Scott? That's what you said. Am I
Hey,
going to swear?
as an aside, we actually got Stallion Express here in Ottawa. Someone just
What?
happened to mention to me, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know. So I'll have to look into that. Although I'm pretty happy just dropping stuff at Canada Post. Although it takes a lot longer because I hit it. Okay, because you get stuck behind people, and if there's only one person behind the counter, it takes forever. That can be hard. Anyways, next comment. Laugh out loud. Tell me your honey hole, Scott. Says Don.
What's honey hole? I do have a few honey holes. Like, what is the one does she want to know? Like
I don't know.
like the yard selling one,
I think it was the
the
auction one.
auction ones,
The auction one, I think, is the
the
one.
thrift store ones.
Yeah. The dumpster diving one.
I don't do dumpster diving.
Oh, okay. That's what
I'll do. Oh, unless you
you
mean
want to
like
talk about it. That's okay.
when I say garbage picks, when I do the garbage pick stuff, is that what you mean?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want to read the last
I
half?
need more clarity.
Do you want to read the last half while I have a drink?
I think it's just the area, Don. Honestly,
Right.
it's the area, and I've got over the years to know a lot of people, and like friends called me on two private picks. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. My buddy Tim with the books, and he always directs me into the right direction. Like I do some auctioning stuff that is, I can't believe that it's not being overrun by pickers so far. Um, so I don't know. I think it's just the area, making contacts and just keeping in touch. There's another guy that's like so good to me and stuff like that too. Um, and he's big time into the old antique stuff, and he's took me on tours through his home and showed me some of the stuff. It's just amazing. He buys stuff. He's just a great guy, and some of the stuff I've done very well with, and I've even gone back and given him more money because I've just done so well. So anyway, I think it's just keeping in touch and meeting people, and everybody here treats me well, and I try to treat them well, and it's just working. I don't know. I can't explain it really. So I don't know, buddy. Go on.
Okay.
I rambled on there, but
Um, I pick ephemera for the most part. Yes, postcards, sheet music, restaurant menus, travel brochures. Yeah, you know about that, Scott.
yep.
Art books,
I sold
like
another travel brochure
for
recent. Like
California.
you saw that?
You talked about it, I think, at some
Oh,
point.
did I? Okay.
Yeah. Art books that I can remove the plates from, magazines I can pilfer ads from, calendars, business cards. Uh, I also do some decor, kitchen stuff, depending on price and what it is. I can never resist a nice piece of pottery or glass unless it's enormous. I don't want to ship it. Yeah, I picked up a little pottery this week. It's like 1917 stuff, but it's only still worth like 15 or 20 bucks. And I missed damage on one piece. So it's not
Like
a big deal. It's just a couple of bucks. So
I see music sheets all the time, and it's old stuff, and I just don't know enough about them. I usually pass them up. I will pick up old restaurant. I'll pick up menus, especially if they're off a ship.
yeah,
You know, an old ship or a train. I'll grab those. Um, Travel brochures for sure. I did so well with those ones.
I can never resist a nice piece of pottery or glass unless it's enormous and I don't want to ship it. Yeah, that's the nice thing about the booth is now I have somewhere to put it. Like like I have one vase there, a West German one in the booth now that I had online. So I pulled it from offline because it's like I didn't want to ship it. It's kind of an awkward size and I'd rather just sell it at the booth. Um, so for some decor and kitchen stuff, I need to learn my kitchen stuff. Like obviously I know about Pyrex and stuff like that, but I think maybe that's a hole in my knowledge. And I've heard lots of people say decor and kitchen stuff does well in the flea market. And I rarely, if ever, pick up that stuff. So, um, it would be difficult for me to want to sell in bulk because the stuff I buy in bulk, I buy with the intention of selling those items individually. Yeah, me too. That's like when the guy wanted to buy all his books. It's like I don't want to sell in bulk for a cheap price. Like that's what I did in the first place. Uh, or at most in small lots. So what Carl said. Also, I rarely buy actually sorry. Also, I very rarely actually buy stuff in bulk. So if I sold in bulk, I might even lose money. It's a balancing act, I suppose. See you next week.
Yeah, I wouldn't like. I don't think I was suggesting to like. I think we use the DVD as a bulk. That's what you brought up. Like what I sell them. So based on what I know, I pay for them on average. What it takes to find them and what I'm selling them for. Like you said, would you sell all your DVDs in your store for $1? And
Yeah,
I
two
said no.
dollars, $2 or 3 for 5. It's not even bread and butter. It's more like just like bread.
No, but you asked me the question because I put $4 in all my horror movies, and
Oh
you
right.
asked me if I would sell them all to a for a
Oh right.
dollar.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't, and I give my reasons why, but I probably would for $2 because now it makes sense, and I know I'm at a pretty decent profit, and I can go out and find more to restock
Well, what about these toy
where
soldiers?
it makes sense on the profit I'm making. What's that?
What about these toy soldiers? You paid 5. If I offered you 10, would you take it?
No, but
Because that'd be
knowing
a
what
very quick flip.
let me finish. And
No.
it's funny that you said that because actually Ben brought that up too, like different ways you could sell it.
Right.
Um, so I probably like if it was worth 40 grand, I'd probably take 20 because I
Right.
don't have to do any work and there's commission, nothing's coming off there. But I think there's more there. I think that's probably closer to 60. It could even, honestly, I'm stretching, but it could even be worth 70. Like only because I picked up that one figure, the first one I picked, and it was over $500 sold comp. Um, so let's say there's 60. I think I'd have to go at least half 50% at 30 to make it. Otherwise, I'll do it myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if there was a collector who wanted just to have an instant collection, or somebody that goes to these trade fairs and you know just
It's
wants
top
to
dollar. Yeah.
right, yeah, I'd probably do 30 grand. Why not? I didn't do anything. I just took it out of my truck and put it in his. You
Yeah.
know, and I made $25,000 profit. So I think I'd have to say yes to that. You know what I mean? But I'm not I'm not seeking that person out. I'm not looking for that person. If they, hey, I hear you bought this collection, I'd
I'm
be
not
interested.
looking to sell in bulk in the same way. Like it's just not.
But I wouldn't totally shut it down if the
But
price was right. You
if
know
the
what I mean?
yeah, you're not going to shut down anything if the price is right.
Yeah. But what is that price? What is the right price is where you got to figure it out, right? So I don't I would sell in bulk for sure. Even though it's going to be less if I individually.
I like what I did, like with the DVDs in the stores. Like buy, it's $3 for $5 seems to work because then I give them a slight discount, like a what is that, a 10% discount or a 20% discount, and um the nice thing is I can buy DVDs any day of the week. In fact, I'm picking some up this afternoon, which I forgot about till right now. So like they're so easy to pick up that I don't mind if I sold them in bulk because I want to get rid of them because I have inventory to replace it. But in case of your soldiers, you can't just replace that inventory. Like this is
And
a one thing.
and I'm going to go back to the DVDs. It's not easy to replace really good horror DVDs either.
No.
Right? Like, so to replace DVDs, you can say is very easy, but I just deal mostly into horror, and that's not easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every maybe twice a year, a big bulk buy in horror movie DVDs will come up, but I got to look for them. I'm out pounding the pavement every Saturday. You know what I mean? I'm doing auctions. I'm hustling every time, and if I come across them, I'm going to buy them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a little bit tougher for me just to say, yeah, I'm just gonna do a bulk buy. But there is a price where I would do a bulk buy where the person could still make money. It would make sense for them, but it would make sense for me. And that I think the $2 mark is where it's at. But I think anything lower would not make sense for me,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So, but I would be open to the bulk buy, even on those soldiers. I'd be open to a bulk buy. I think
Yeah. Only 30,000 will get you all those soldiers.
they'll get them all. Yeah, and that's lower than what she estimated, and it's way lower than what I'm thinking could be there.
So
But
there you go, Don. Just bring $30,000. Meet Scott in a dark alley somewhere, and you'll be good.
but I don't have to do any work. I don't have to do anything. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's no dark alley. I turn the lights on here. You can just come to the house. I'll carry them out to your vehicle.
Just make sure it's all cash.
But what would you do, Carl? You could make, let's say, you could sell
Oh
all this stuff for, like, let's just say for number's sake, 60 grand, and somebody offered you 30.
no, I'd say no. I want the 60.
Yeah, but you're not going to get the 60 because eBay's going to take a percentage
Oh
off
right.
that, right? And
I,
then now all your time involved, all you got to take pictures and do all that stuff.
okay. Okay.
I would take the 30 grand and use all that time and money now that I have extra. I would take all that time to list other stuff.
If I can net if I can net 40 off of it and someone offered me 30, I'd take the 30.
Yeah. What if you could net what if you net 45 or 50?
If it's 50 and they offer me 30, I'd be tempted to keep it because that's $20,000
And
for
it's going to take
20,000.
you
If for
it's going to take you
like
2 months. Let's just say it's going to take you 2 months to list that.
for $20,000,
Yeah.
yes, I will do it.
Okay.
That's $10,000 a month. That's pretty damn good in my eyes.
But
Maybe not
well,
for
but okay, let's be realistic though. Not everything's going to sell quickly. Not everything's going to possibly even sell at all, which I'm pretty sure it would sell.
I
Like
think
if
I'm
it's,
using the figures that you gave me, right?
yeah. But you're going to hold on. Like that's going to like you're going to list it in a couple months, but
Yeah,
you know, like I don't have to tell you that things aren't going to sell in a week. You know,
that's
things
fine.
right.
That's fine
You're
for
willing
me.
to sit on it for that.
Yeah, for $10,000 a month. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I think because I can use that time to list other things and still be making that money on other things. that I'm
ten
going to
thousand
list.
dollars a month for me would be amazing. So I'm willing to do it. It's
But
not like
but
you're
you
spending the entire month just doing like that one thing.
but what I'm saying is I would list and buy other stuff that I'm going to
Yeah.
list in those 2 months.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You're saying this opportunity cost of like, if I take that $10,000, I'm missing out on maybe other deals that come up that I could
Or
be listing
or
instead.
you're still buying, but you're not like it's not a black and white
No.
position because I could just take that stuff and throw it in the booth. I could take that stuff and it doesn't you could take that stuff and put it in your booth. So there's other options, but I'm just saying on this strict idea of where you go. Like I think 30,000 would I think I would do a quick flip on that, to be quite honest with you. It'd be hard to say no.
Yeah.
When I don't even have to take it out of the box and touch it. I just made a quick 30 grand. I'll move on to the other stuff. But I see the other point too, right? So
Everyone's answers can be slightly different.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like an easy, quick, no work involved, free money, and then I just go and work hard on the other stuff. But I wouldn't take 20 grand. I don't think I'd even do 25. I think it would have to be 30 or more, right?
Yeah.
So all right, bud. Thanks everyone for the comments.
Hey, yes.
Anything else you want to add, or are we gonna shut her down?
I think that's about it. Like, we talked about everything I wanted to. And yeah, it's great. It's almost 2 hours. I'll have something to listen to on the way to the booth and on the way back.
On the way back.
I'm gonna be so exhausted though, because I have to go pick up my parents after I drop back to Ottawa, and they're an hour and 15 minutes away. So I'll be doing 4.5 hours of driving and 8 hours of standing around. Oh, I'm not looking forward to that. But hey, that's part of life too, right? Yeah, no, that's good for me. I don't really have anything interesting to add.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see what next week brings. Like, it's just crazy, eh? You just never know what's around the corner, what the next week's gonna bring.
That's the fun part.
It's so much fun. It really is. It's crazy. So I know what I need to do though. I need to start listing stuff, and there goes the dogs. Steph's
Of
home.
course.
So
Yep.
yeah,
There you go. Perfect timing.
perfect timing. Close her down. That's what she said. All right, buddy. Thanks so much, everyone, for the comments and listening for our long. I'm glad everybody likes the long version.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll shut her down here because the dog is just going insane here. She's a cutie, though. We love her, but she does get crazy. All right, have a good week, everyone. Have a good week.
Yeah, you too. Bye, everyone.